Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shah, Bashmi Rukak, Radash. Double honor to the apostles of the great millstone that told me what I know, and as well as giving you brothers your deserved salutations all around for furthering this ministry as always. And shalom to the Yakimar Guafyam as well. And it's your brother Laban coming at you another video. And in this video I'm going to be going over the relations with Turkey and as well as with Europe in this case. And right now as it stands, Turkey's going through their election process as it stands right now. You got different candidates that are looking to become the next prime minister, but you have this individual here which is leading over this guy over here, as you know it as, or as you should know, Erdogan. All right. And why am I speaking about this? Because this ties into the book of Ezekiel 38 in regards to the relation with Turkey and Russia in this case. And Turkey's always been in the middle between the two superpowers, one on the west and one on the east. And this goes into the title of the video. Will Turkey sway more to Russia? Question mark. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin by reading this, and we're going to read a little of this article over here. We're going to get to key points on this. So yeah, this reads, Europe should be careful what it wishes for with Turkey, right? Better the devil you know is not a sound base for you with Turkey. Anyway, let's read on. It says, Turkey's parliamentary election and first round presidential vote were a huge win for incumbent President Tayyip Erdogan. Contrary to expectations, Erdogan ruling Justice and Development Party, AKP, and his People's Alliance, include the Nationalist Movement Party, secured a majority in parliament. Moreover, the long-sitting leader scored much higher than pollster predicted in the first round, and presidential vote coming in at 49.42%, compared to his main opposition, the rival, the Republican People's Party leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. I can't pronounce that. I tried my best. Who received 44.95% of votes. So he's winning by what? 4%, point something odd, right? So now we're going to get to the point, because this individual, Kemal, I'm not going to pronounce his name. If he gets in there, what he wants to do, he wants to basically make things much more better in terms of their relationship with the West. And this other candidate, I believe his name is Olga, and he's losing real bad. Like what he would like to do is to become a part of the EU. Is to get Turkey to be a member of the EU. So you got certain prime ministers that are more supporting of the side of the West than those that are in support of who they're really supposed to support in this case. And Erdogan is that individual which is more geared towards Russia in this case. You know what I mean? I mean, he wants to keep ties with the West, of course, but he's more engaged with Putin in this case. So I just wanted to just say that just to get to the point. And what I want to do is I want to get down and reading this part over here. Right? Yeah, so let me read this and then I'll get to the actual point, because this looks kind of interesting as well. However, the timing of such and such wins and recess bid would be incredibly awkward for the EU. Coming at the very moment the bloc's capital are beginning to soberly debate and digest the profound implications of Ukraine's accession to the EU. In fact, the bloc's leaders are now likely to formally open a session negotiation with Kyiv at their December summit. The concerns among the senior EU officials at that such and such desires to re-energize the EU-Turkey accession negotiations could complicate the very sensitive debate over enlargement and Ukraine, even though Kyiv enjoys significantly broader political support than Ankara on this accession. This is because some in Brussels, as well as numerous EU capitals, take the view that the price of admitting Ukraine's alongside the Western Balkans into the EU may be the need to be clear that Turkey will never join. Right, so this kind of goes into, because I didn't actually look into this part of the article. I just skimmed through to the point. So as it looks like Turkey really wants to be in the EU, with some of their prime ministers wishing that could be the case. So it isn't just Ogun in this case. It's the guy that's running. What he really would like to see Turkey as well as Ogun is to see Turkey in the EU. So they want to get more deeper into the West in this case. If he wins, right? But if they lose, now we're gonna get to the point. Yeah. So here's who's winning and who's losing in this case. As you have it, that's not really what I want to show you. Lock it. This is the point right here I wanted to read, right? But in the medium to long term, if Erdogan does indeed win, further democratic backsliding and competing geopolitical interests will meaningfully resurrect tensions. Turkey's accession talks will remain frozen, updating the 2016 Migrant Pact or fulfilling some of its clauses will remain highly unlikely. Brussels will continue to deny visas-free travel to the bloc for Turkish nationals, and there will be no movement on the updating of the 1995 EU-Turkey Customs Union. Instead, the stagnating EU-Turkey, this is the point, will only deteriorate further. All right, so that's pretty much all I need to read right there. So if Erdogan decides to stay in, because the way Turkey is going about things is not desiring, to those that are within the EU, because we know that Turkey is still a part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and all of that, right? Right along with their EU, counterparts as well. So if this guy decides to stay in, there's going to be problems. Their relationship is going to deteriorate. And that's what we're looking for in this case concerning the book of prophecy. And we know that in Bible prophecy, certain nations within the East are going to get together right along with Russia. So on May the 10th, this was aired out on AP News. This reads, Turkey and Syria agreed to improve ties after talks in Moscow. Syria and Turkey agreed Wednesday to set up a roadmap to improve straightened ties, following alongside Russia and Iran in Moscow. And an agreement comes a week after Syrian Arab government meeting in Jordan agreed to establish a roadmap of their own to resolve Syria's lengthy civil war and bolster ties. And Syria has been returning to the Arab fold and slowly restoring ties with its neighbors. So now this goes into what? Ezekiel 38. Right? Because eventually in due time, when this war kicks off, they're going to be in union. They're going to be together. So I just want to read Ezekiel 38 and verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog and the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And we know that what? Tubal is Turkey, which is, I believe, is on the east, the little to the east side of Turkey, right? And let's read on. So this reads, Tubal is the east side of Turkey, and Gog is like on, Goma I meant to say. Goma is on just smack dab in Turkey. Forgot the word right there. Let me read this again. Ezekiel 38 verse 2, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog and the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, which would include Russia being the chief in this and prophesy against them, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army and horse and horsemen all over them, clothed with all sorts of armor, and even a great company with buckler and shield, and all of them handling swords. So that's what? Russia returning back to their warlike stance, as they were back during the time of Joseph Stalin. You get into the little of that history right there, right? But here's the point. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. And Gomer, which Gomer, as I've mentioned, is what? Turkey, right? And all his bands, and the house of Togarmah, which once again is Turkey, of the north quarters, and all of his bands and many people with thee, right? Let me read this last precept over here. And be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them, right? So back in the day, as I remember during the time of when Barack Obama was in office, maybe around 2013 or 14, Putin would send what? His S-3 and S-400 weapons to Syria, and as well as, the other of their allies. All right. So recently, back on the 10th, when this was aired out, just reading a little of this article, certain nations that had, their beefs or whatever came together after the talks on that happened at Moscow. All right, so let's read some more on this right here. So this reads, Syria has been returning to the Arab fold, slowly restoring ties with its neighbors. The Arab League also readmitted Syria's membership after a 12-year suspension in the onset of the conflict on Sunday, before Saudi Arabia delivered a formal invitation earlier Wednesday to President Bashar Assad to attend the up-and-coming summit in Jeddah. Throughout 12-year conflict, Turkey has backed armed and opposition groups in the country's northwest, seeking to remove Assad from power. The Syrian government has frequently denounced Ankara's hold over parts of a northwest enclave previously seized by Assad's opponents. Turkey captured the territory through several military incursions since 2016 against U.S.-backed Kurdish forces. So that's all I'm going to read right there, right? Turkey and as well as Syria are drawing closer because, as we know, according to Bible prophecy, we know what's going to go down when it's all said and done with America in this case. Okay, so everything's coming together the way it needs to be for that particular moment in time. Now, let me back up a little bit and read Jeremiah, getting back into the scriptures. Let's get this in Jeremiah 50 in verse 1 all the way down to verse 16. I want to skip a couple of verses as well. So this reads, the word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldean by Jeremiah the prophet. So now I'm going to read down to verse 3. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. And you can read that in the book of to get a greater understanding. You can read Isaiah 34. It's either Isaiah 13 or Isaiah 34. So this reads, and they shall remove and they shall depart, both man and beast. In those days and in that time, saith the Lord Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, and they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping, and they shall go and seek the Lord their power. And that's what's happening right now. So in the midst of this period of time when these nations are getting together to fight one another and destroy one another, eventually with the nukes, we're coming together as a people, as Israelites. Okay? And they shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord in the perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. So again, this is talking about us. My people have been, let's get to the point, because I don't want to, this is not really in the, the topic here. So I want to just get to the point. So Yeah, this is it in verse 9. Here we have it right here. So this reads, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country." We just read about them in Ezekiel 38. So let me read this again. "Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog and the chief prince." Matter of fact, let's get to the exact point. This is it right here. "Gomar and all his bands and the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands and many people with thee." So there you go. So that's what's coming to side with Russia and to go against Babylon, which in this case is America. All right. Which is modern day Babylon. So that's all of those within the north, which will come up against her. "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken, and their arrow shall be as the mighty of a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain. And Chaldea shall be a spoil, and all that spoil her shall be satisfied, save the Lord." So in other words, these nations, they're going to be so eager to destroy Babylon because of the wrongs that Babylon has done unto them, as they remember. "Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye have grown fat as the healthy grass, and bellows as bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded, and she that bare you shall be ashamed. And behold, the hindermost of the nation shall be a wilderness and a dry land in the desert." In this case, this is America, because America is all the way at the hindermost parts. In other words, the end of the world, all the way to the left-hand side. Okay, and the mother that have bared her, or bared Babylon, is Britain in this case. And verse 11, let me just elaborate on verse 11. I'm going to read this again though. "Because ye were glad, because ye rejoice, O ye destroyers of mine heritage." So who is the Lord's people for them to destroy the Lord's heritage? The Israelites. That's what they did. They destroyed us. They took away our heritage, and they allowed us to defile ourselves by putting a bottle to us. In other words, using the media and all different kinds of programming and the school systems and everything else, which is dead set to confuse our people, to have us destroyed as a people. That's how they destroyed the Lord's heritage. All right, which is the people of Israel. "Because ye are grown fat as the health at grass and bellows of bulls." And how did they grown fat? Through the enslavement of our people, first and foremost, and many other things. In other words, rich in this case. That's what it means that they've grown fat. So this reads verse 13, "Because of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate, and every one that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues." And this is how you know that this has got to be talking about America, because people are still dwelling on which was called Babylon anciently, which is Iraq today. People are still dwelling in these areas, and people will dwell there forevermore. But this Babylon is talking about America. And you got scholars within the Christian ilk are finding out that Babylon, that Jeremiah is referring to in other different places in the Bible, is referring to America also. They're slowly coming across that fact. So this reads, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow." In other words, all those that possess the missile. "Shoot at her and spare no arrows, for she have sinned against the Lord." And this is going into, as well as the allies of America too. They're going to hurt her with missiles too. That's in Revelation 17. You can read that as well. Okay. As a matter of fact, let me read that and bring that into the mix. So now let's go and get Revelation 17. Verse 16, Revelation 17 and verse 16. "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So the 10 horns represents those 10 original European countries that came together and formulated with NATO in this case. Or let me correct myself. The original 10 which formulated the European Union. All right. So what's going to happen is they're going to turn their backs on those who they've made a pact with, and that's the Americans in this case. When they packed together and called themselves the Treaty of Rome back in the 1950s. For this reason, for the Most High put it in their heart to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of the Lord shall be fulfilled. And that's going to be fulfilled. It's the destruction of Babylon. So all of these nations doing as they may, including Turkey, we know that eventually, and I mean, it remains to be seen what's going to happen in the future in regards to Turkey, because like I've mentioned earlier in this video, Turkey's in the middle when it comes to these major superpowers, which America's one and Russia's another one. But we know that according to the book of Ezekiel 38, just to answer the question in regards to what's going to happen with Turkey, it's going to be more in communication with Russia. And I mean, as you look at it, Turkey in this case, Turkey's going through an election period right now. And regardless of who gets in, it's just going to end up the same way. The Lord's will is going to be fulfilled. And they're going to do justice on their behalf when siding with Russia. But this individual, Erdogan, he has more of a stronger connect with Putin. And as well as, other heads. He's well known. The other guy, no one really hardly even knows who he is. So it'd be reasonable that he stays in this case anyway. It can dissolve the communication that they have if this other guy gets in. So like I said, it remains to be seen, but we just know that eventually privacy will play its part when it's all said and done. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to really bring out to you, man, on this right here. I forgot to bring this out too, man, and showing you that Togamar is such and such, but I've already kind of went into it. I broke it down already, so I don't need to bring this in. Yeah, so I think I've said what I had to say on this, man. So with that, I'm closing.